Hello, everyone, and welcome to the second episode of the Jewhawk Talk. I am your host, Ariella Kravchenko, and today we are going to be interviewing Charles Lockman.
Hi, it's great to be on. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, so Charles, why don't you share a little bit about yourself and your involvement with Chabad?
Well, I got involved with KU Chabad in my second semester here at KU. Wasn't totally involved in my first semester, but really started to see the value of Judaism, and I knew I wanted to have more of it in my life. And when I got involved in Chabad, it was solely a community based activity, but through a little bit of volunteer work, a lot of classes I took, retreats I went on, and really not just friendship, but brotherhood, amazing deep connections with people. It turned into a home away from home for me. And Judaism really turned into something that I have turned to in really every aspect of my life.
That's awesome. What made you want to come to Chabad?
Well, long story short, I dated a non-Jew in the first semester of my freshman year, and so that, when you're in it was my first serious relationship, and so every first relationship teaches you something, and it taught me that I wanted Judaism in my life, and so I got tired of waking up every day seeing a Christmas tree in my future, and knew I wanted more, and so again started off as the community, but when I realized that I wanted to educate myself more, it turned into something where I could really learn and grow as a person. So
That's awesome. So this year you went on Pagisha, right?
I did go on Pagisha this
So
year.
I was told that you gave a TED talk there. So why don't you share a little bit about your experience at Pagisha and maybe what you talked about in your TED talk?
Yeah, I mean, Pagisha is a fantastic experience. You get to meet all of these students that are passionate about meeting other Jewish students. And you get to meet students that are passionate about learning from these other students and these other people that are there to present on Pagisha. And I love Pagisha because it is this gigantic Jewish networking seminar in a way. But, it's also just, we have this environment here at KU, and it's beautiful, and we get to come here every week, how many ever times we want. But there are two big things I think about. Number one, there are campuses that don't have that availability, so it means so much to them. But number two, it's that Pagisha is what we have here at KU on steroids. It is so fun, just being around everybody, learning from everybody. With speaking, I have to give credit to Chabad International for, first of all, just having opportunities where we can speak. I mean, for them to go out of their way to make it to where we can tell our own stories shows us and shows the world that they're not only here for us to follow in their footsteps, they're here to learn from the students and learn how the students are reacting to what they do so that they can react to us better. Um, I spoke about my Jewish journey, so I mentioned that relationship slightly, just kind of said, hey, this motivated me more to get involved with Judaism. Um, I talked about an injury I had. I talked about where I lived in a period of my life where my values weren't aligning with my daily actions, and how Judaism really helped me align those goals with things I was doing every day. And was speaking about that, the coolest thing for me really isn't even the speaking part of it. It's the number of students that I had come up to me after that are my own age, are in majors very similar to me, really similar people, but they're like, man, I really resonated with your story. And I think every public speaker can say this. I think you can say this from hosting this podcast, that you're not even focused about yourself on yourself. You're focused on how viewers are going to perceive what you do. And my favorite part of it is seeing the amount of students that really resonated with what I had to say, whether it was I dated non-Jewish, whether it was I had a period of my life where my values didn't align with my actions. So it was very special to me, to get to see so many people react in that way.
Yeah, that is awesome. I bet you made a big impact on multiple people that day.
Yeah, really
So
special.
you mentioned Jewish networking. Um, is it true that you have a little mentorship relationship with Bob Cutler?
It is true. Bob is a fantastic person. He has totally refined the way I see the world in the best way possible. He has really elevated my potential in every area of life. And I mean, he's truly the person where it's like his younger self would be so proud of who he is today based on the things he's done, not just because of the accomplishments and the materialistic things that he's accomplished, but really his impact on the world. And so when I look at a mentorship, I look at someone who's going to have that impact on the world and have an even bigger impact on me. Someone that really is going to motivate me to do above and beyond work, no matter who's looking, and always strive to be a better person. And he has been a fantastic mentor, both Judaically and not, but with Jewish values. I'll honestly compare him to Zalman. You know, Zalman every Friday night, as we know, will go on his little stories. He'll either talk about something with the Torah, he'll talk about something with the Rebbe. He always has some sort of motivation focus, discipline focus, or just focusing on your goals focus. And with Bob, he and I learn from each other based on stories. And what I like is that stories that he tells throughout his life always have some core roots and core values that he incorporates. And then he not only incorporates those with those stories, but he does it with the rest of his life. And I think we can all say we all love learning from mentors where they talk about a story and it's clear that the values that they talk about actually carry over into what they do with their lives. And that's who Bob is. Every single value that he talks about, he truly has, and it has been a joy learning from him and really growing as a person.
Yeah, that is awesome. And for those who don't know, Bob Cutler is the man who the building is named after. It says the Cutler family Chabad house on the outside of it. So he really helped make this building happen and gave us this beautiful space.
And happy birthday, Bob.
Yes, happy
70th
birthday, Bob. So at Pagisha, it's only a 3-day event, right?
It is.
Yeah, so how did you make time to connect with people and meet new people there?
Connecting with people at Gisha can be hard because number one, you're split into two groups, but number two, you know, your day is packed. I mean, you have a series of events to choose and you kind of go on those events. And a lot of people, of course, stick with people from their university. And of course, everybody, especially your rabbis and rebbitzins, are always preaching, oh, like, go meet someone. And what I find really special is that Pagisha, Sinai Scholars, these retreats, you're not going with these Jewish people at campuses. You are going with people who truly want to immerse themselves in Judaism. You're going with people who want to take classes, right? Sinai Scholars Retreat, you're going with people who took Sinai Scholars who wanted to educate themselves. I mean, you're going with people who put hours and hours into learning more about their faith and their religion. And so the way I view it is I just have to find those people that are like me. And I think this may make me sound very professional, but you know, just like we have when we're trying to network in the professional world, you have those series of questions that you can kind of gauge people on. I have my own series of questions where I get to meet people, whether they're guys or girls. You know, I kind of just I like analyzing people. I like talking deep with people, and so people that want to immerse in that type of conversation, I'll do it. And the only thing I'll add to that is, of course, Pagisha is a totally different environment than normal school. In normal school, I have regular small talk with everyone. So at Pagisha, I try to have a little bit of deep talk, get to know people, and I'm proud to say I've met a few people that really stand out to me and that are really special, and that just makes me want to go back to Pagisha and, you know, back to all these other trips more and more to meet more and more people.
Yeah, so what are some of the examples of the Jewish networking questions you ask people?
Oh, man. I mean, well, when it comes to like pure professional networking, you know, I'll say, tell me how you've stood out. Tell me how you've incorporated your values into your work ethic and who you are today. You know, I try to ask, especially with it being a Jewish focused event, I know that they're there to promote Judaism, so I want to see how they've incorporated things. Again, the biggest one being, how have you stood out? With other things, you know, I think there are two types of ways. The first way is really just asking people important questions. You know, being intentional. The more intentional you are, the more intentional results you get. So, you know, just saying like, hey, like, when's a time in your life you felt you really grew? You know, just questions like that. But I think in another outlet, I think one of the most beautiful things is kind of what I alluded to with Bob, also what I alluded to with Zalman, is sharing stories about yourself. You know, I met someone on Pagisha where two of us, we just went back and forth talking about stories that we had been through. And the two of us kind of bonded on the values that were shared in each of our stories. And I mean, we just bonded over those values, bonded over our stories, and it's just the joy of getting to learn about someone, not just at a face value level, but really at a deeper level. And the only other thing I will say about Pagisha and Sinai Scholars, and I know anyone can relate to this, is that everyone dresses more modest because it is a Chabad event, and that in a large way actually really helps because it makes you focus on what really matters. It makes you view someone and really try to dig deep on who they are and not just see someone for how they present themselves, but see someone for how they're going to talk about themselves.
Yeah. And I'm sure that also helps people connect with each other in more ways too.
Yeah.
Speaking of connection, every Sunday there's a new event, Bagels, Lox, and Tefillin at 10 a.m., where all the guys meet and wrap tefillin and have a small little service. And during that, there's also breakfast afterwards, and the vibes are there. I had the pleasure to witness that and take some content of that. So,
The real reason why I come here just starts off your morning in a rocking way, connecting to God and seeing all these beautiful Jewish faces. But the low key secret is because of the breakfast Michael makes. No other reason.
So I come here every Sunday. I do reptifilling every day, which is a very nice mental break for me, and it allows me to get closer with God and think just everything for what's going on in my life. But on Sunday, it's special just because when you have a group of people doing the same thing, it's just a very nice gesture for everyone, and I look forward to it every Sunday. It allows me to set my alarm early and get up and get going.
before we wrap it up, why do you wrap tefillin?
Tefillin holds something very special and meaning to me. I know you asked me earlier about the speech I gave on Pagisha. I've given, I gave another speech at the Sinai Scholars Retreat back in 2024. And in both of those speeches, I talk about a very impactful story for me. So I went home over Thanksgiving break of my freshman year and told my parents about rapping tefillin. While it was something they both knew about, it didn't hold. It really hasn't held a lot of value between my parents. I didn't know what tefillin was before I went off to college. And my dad, after hearing it was important to me, pulled out my great great grandfather's tefillin, and it had been passed down from generation to generation. May or may not have been wrapped in the Holocaust. Not too sure on that, but it is very important to me. And tefillin means family to me. When I wrap tefillin in the mornings, when I look at that pouch of the tefillin that comes from the 1800s, it makes me think of my family. It makes me think of people that died to protect Judaism, but also had Judaism at such a high value and such a priority in their lives that, they were willing to do everything to incorporate meaning in their lives. And the only other thing I'll say with tefillin is Viktor Frankl's logotherapy, the idea of having meaning in your life, the idea that even under the worst circumstances in life, everything can have meaning. And tefillin is that for me. It is the idea that no matter what's going on, when I wrap tefillin, I have the ability to connect with God and incorporate meaning into every aspect of my day, no matter what happens. To be grateful for what I have, to strive to get even more, and to stay loyal and connected to God. So tefillin means the world to me, and Judaism means even more.
Well, that is a very beautiful note to end this episode on. So, do you have any favorite holidays that are coming up by chance?
Well, my favorite is Passover, but the one coming up that I also love is Purim.
Well, keep an eye out for any information on our Purim party that is coming up. And thank you so much for coming on the podcast, Charles.
Thank you for having me. Make sure you follow the Jewhawk Talk.